I'm Bobbi Fisher, and this is my Aesthetically Awkward podcast, a show where we dive into all things aesthetics, health, wellness, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. Please consult your own healthcare provider before making any decisions in your personal health journey. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to the Aesthetically Awkward podcast. This is an impromptu episode. I did not have any time to plan this in advance, and I'm actually recording it from home. So I'm sorry if there are any odd background noises. In addition, I sound a little bit froggy today because I am getting over a viral illness, and that's actually what we are going to be talking about right now. If you are in our local community, you or someone that you know has probably already been affected by this virus. There's a really nasty stomach virus going around. I am lucky to have been spared by the GI symptoms. I have only picked up an upper respiratory illness, and I will take that all day, any day compared to what the rest of my family went through. So this stomach virus has wiped through schools, households, and families. When it hits hard. My kiddo, she brought home a stomach virus, and her symptoms started, I believe it was last Wednesday, early in the morning. It was a really rough night for her, and unfortunately, she went through a round 2 Saturday going into Sunday. My poor husband was affected by the symptoms as well. It took him a little while to recover. He is back to 100%, and I'm the only one still struggling to get over it. Again, most of my symptoms have been upper respiratory, fever, chills, body aches, cough, chest congestion, sinus congestion, a little bit of ear pain. No concerns really with the gastrointestinal side of things. I really got spared from any of the severe symptoms. I was likely exposed to a different virus and was able to avoid the gastrointestinal symptoms. I wanted to record this episode this week because so many other families are dealing with the exact same thing. And it's not about miracle cures or anything crazy. There's no woo-woo medicine that I'm going to be able to give you that's going to be able to prevent you from getting this virus too. I want to help you understand what's going on, how to support yourself and your families through it, and how to recover without feeling completely depleted. Before we get into today's episode, I want to introduce a new segment that I plan on doing each week called Behind the Mic. This space specifically is where I want to show an honest moment from the week, whether it's a flex or a flop. Sometimes it'll be personal, professional, maybe both. So for the first Behind the Mic, I actually have both a flex and a flop to share. My flex is that even though I was sick, I was able to do things like keep up with laundry, dishes, some light household cleaning that might sound small, but when illness hits a household, keeping things moving can feel like a win, and I'm going to give myself credit for that. My flop was that I had to cancel 2 full days of clients and work with my team to get them rescheduled. It's never an easy decision for me, especially as a small business owner, and knowing that people have planned out these appointments, they've taken time off work, they've arranged childcare. It breaks my heart to do it, but the fact of the matter is that I had to be home to support my family, and then I had to take a day to recover myself. I also want to take the time to express a gratitude for my team. The girls at the front desk stepped in to help handle rescheduling clients, and my nurses were able to absorb some of the clients that I needed to reschedule. So that was extremely beneficial. This time last year, I didn't have that kind of support because I didn't have a nursing team readily available. The experience is honestly a good reminder that illness doesn't just affect our bodies, it affects our homes, our work, the people around us, and having a support system in place is going to help shape how you're able to recover. And that's what's bringing us into today's topic. What we're seeing right now, it's pretty consistent with a viral gastroenteritis for those of you that are having those GI symptoms. It's usually caused by something like Norovirus. These viruses spread easily. They require very little exposure to actually cause illness, and symptoms tend to come on fast. People might feel fine 1 minute and then suddenly they're very, very sick. That's why entire households get hit in waves. The virus spreads through close contact and contaminated surfaces. Vomiting in particular can help spread the virus faster and farther than you might realize. It's not meant to scare you, but it just explains why it can feel unavoidable to get sick. And honestly, with the sheer volume of vomit that I was exposed to and had to clean up, I am shocked that I never got hit by it. I was very intentional when I was helping clean up my child, washing the bed sheets, cleaning the floors. That's likely why I was spared these symptoms. I washed my hands dozens upon dozens of times. The symptoms of these viruses can feel pretty dramatic, sudden vomiting, watery diarrhea, abdominal cramping, chills, body aches, fevers. Kids can go from normal to sick very quickly. Adults describe feeling wiped out, shaky, weak. A big part of what makes it feel so intense is how quickly you lose your fluids. Most people do begin to improve within a few days, but exhaustion afterward can linger. And it's important to understand that people can continue to shed the virus even after they start feeling better. And that's why outbreaks seem to drag on and why cleaning and hand hygiene matter most, even when you think that you're out of the woods. So let's talk a little bit about what to do during active illness. So if this hits your household, the priority is supportive care, hydration first, always, taking small, frequent sips of fluids. Do not try to force large amounts of fluids. That is not going to end well. They're either going to come back up or run right through you. Oral rehydration solutions with electrolytes or glucose are going to help fluids absorb more effectively and are especially important for children and the elderly. Once fluids are staying down, clear liquids, then you can gently reacclimate into trying actual nutrition, but it's not the time for heavy meals. You might feel absolutely ravenous after not being able to eat or drink anything for hours or days. But if you eat something heavy, again, it's not going to be pretty. Simple, easy to digest foods. If you've heard of the brat diet, it's tried and true for a reason. It's not the most nutritious, but it's usually really well tolerated. And rest matters so much. It's not the time to just push through. Poor sleep, stress, and dehydration can compound how bad you feel and how long it takes you to recover. Caregivers, it's your responsibility to help limit the spread within your homes. Hand washing with soap and water is going to be the most effective solution to prevent this, especially after bathroom use and before handling any food. Clean those surfaces. Disinfectants that are effective against norovirus need adequate contact time on surfaces. I'm talking about your bathrooms, your high-touch surfaces, areas involved during vomiting episodes. Like, make sure that you are spending extra care cleaning all of these surfaces and read your labels to make sure that you're allowing any cleaning solutions the appropriate contact time to do their job. Laundry needs to be handled carefully. Avoid shaking containers. Contaminated linens. Make sure that you wash thoroughly using detergent and hot water if possible. Add bleach if you can, if the fabric allows it. Clean effectively without spreading contamination while you're doing it, and clean out your washing machine in between cycles. After symptoms improve, it's normal to feel drained for a few days. As your appetite returns, again, the gradual reintroduction of balanced meals helps recovery. Once you have advanced past those really bland foods, you need to focus on protein. Don't lose sight of repleting your fluids and your electrolytes as well. And you need to be gentle with yourself. You're not going to bounce back to 100% quickly. You have got to support your body and allow it the time to heal. Keep up with the hand washing, the surface cleaning to make sure that you don't recontaminate. This is where my kiddo almost certainly fell short because she had to go through this not once, but twice a couple days later. She was sick on Wednesday. She was in school on Friday. Sick again on Saturday. She was likely in contact with this virus again at school from another sick kiddo. They're at the age where they're just not efficiently washing their hands, and maybe the surfaces in the bathroom or in the classroom hadn't been adequately cleaned. And that's certainly not the fault of the teachers by any means. It's hard to when you've got a room full of kids that are sharing toys. Again, there's no guilt or blame being placed here. The viruses are good at what they do for a reason. Virus season is hard. It's disruptive, exhausting, stressful. Good thing is, in most cases, in most otherwise healthy individuals, it's usually real self-limited, runs through you quickly, focused on hydration, rest, and recovery. Support yourself, support your family. And if you're feeling wiped out after illness, allow yourself some extra time to rest. Knowing when to manage at home versus seeking care is important. And listen, I'm all for supportive care at home, but I also understand how scary it can be, especially when your kiddo is sick. A month ago, maybe a little bit longer, my kiddo was very sick with an upper respiratory illness. I was at work. She was at home with her grandma. I was getting texts throughout the day. She wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. She just slept all day. She napped on and off. She was absolutely miserable. She was burning up with a fever, hot to touch. By the time I got home, I walked in and she was just tearful and miserable. I said, okay, get up. We're going to urgent care. I can't treat her at home. I'm an adult health NP, and I definitely needed a second set of eyes on her just to make sure that she was okay. I took her to urgent care, and by the time we got there, she was drinking the drink we had brought along with us, and she was actually kind of dancing around found in the room. She wasn't running a fever. It was like 98.8. Her lungs were clear. Her throat was a little red, but otherwise strep throat or anything of that nature. And they just said supportive care at home. It stuck with me because even with medical training, fear takes over. The urge to have someone else lay eyes on them, it's real. It doesn't mean that you're overreacting. It just means that you care about them. You don't want to see your loved ones suffer. Respiratory viruses, stomach viruses, most of these things can be managed at home with supportive care. But if something feels off, if the symptoms are severe, or if you just need a second set of eyes to make sure that your loved one's okay, go to the urgent care. Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to introduce another new segment that I'm going to be doing regularly, and it's called Unfiltered Q&A. It's where I'm going to answer questions pulled from conversations, DMs, comments, and things people ask me in real life. It's going to come directly from Instagram stories and polls, Facebook, other social media platforms like YouTube, any comments directly on Spotify. The first question was, honestly, how are you finding time to do a podcast while running your business and having a family? It seems like a lot. And it is. It is a lot. And it doesn't always feel balanced. I already had a lot on my plate before I decided to take on the podcast, and that's barely fitting into the margin of time that I've got right now. I have a lot of early mornings, a lot of late evenings, sleepless nights occasionally. I do try to prioritize sleep, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I'd never really get a true day off. And when I had downtime while I was sick, I was working. I got a lot accomplished. I was very productive working on my website on the back end, updating some intake forms, returning messages to patients. It is a lot to manage. As far as the podcast, I'm trying to carve out time each week that's dedicated to recording and editing and getting things posted. Right now, our clinic's open 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and 2 Saturdays a month. I have admin time blocked out for myself every Friday, and then also on Tuesdays, now that I have 2 nurses in the office on Tuesdays. So having a team has made it really beneficial for me to be able to dedicate more time to working within my business as a manager and a leader and not just as a provider, plus have the time to dedicate to my podcast. And the last question I'm going to address today is, will you spend any time talking about lasers and microneedling or your skincare? I've been on the fence about a few treatments. Absolutely. It is, after all, the Aesthetically Awkward podcast, so we will get into aesthetic procedures. I promise there will be upcoming episodes that specifically address aesthetic procedures. I will get into lasers, microneedling, skincare. I'll nerd out on ingredients with you. I'll talk about pre and post care. It'll be educational. And in the meantime, you're welcome to book a consultation with myself or one of my teammates. I have 2 amazing nurses and an esthetician. All are certified laser technicians. I do want to explain the difference between the skincare lines that we carry, the procedures that we offer, the chemical peels that we offer, why you might decide on one option versus the other, or if a combination approach might be more beneficial for you based on your goals and your downtime. And my hope is that you feel informed after listening. Maybe you're somebody who's listening from a distance and you're considering booking with another provider. Maybe this will give you a little more information to help you guide that consult. All right, guys, I think that's enough for today. I need to go rest my vocal cords. I will take the upper respiratory symptoms any day over the gastrointestinal symptoms that my family went through. But that does not mean that I don't need rest. So it is time to set the mic down and go take care of myself. I want you to take care of yourself, take care of your people. And remember, if you are going through this illness, this too shall pass. I'll see you again next week.